Welcome to the 15th Annual Bridges to the World Film Festival. Tonight's film is the fourth in our series. If you would like to know more about the organization World Artist Experiences, go to email us at the email in the chat box. Tonight, following the screening of the film, please feel free to enter your questions into the Q&A box. Please use only the Q&A box tonight for your questions. Over the past months, it has been a great honor to work with the Embassy of Poland staff to present Poland through tonight's film. It has been such a joy to work with Beata Pinkala to make tonight's evening very special. Beata, you have not missed one detail in all of the time that we've worked together. So thank you so much for being sure and working together with us in all the details of the film. Beata is not a panelist this evening, but I said to her, please get on this evening so that we can see your face. So we want to thank you so much. It's been such a joy to work together with you. A great joy to partner with the Embassy of Poland. Thank you so very much. And now I'd like to introduce—
Thank you, Betty.
Thank you so much, Beata. And now I would like to introduce to you June Krell Salgado, a member of the Bridges to the World Film Festival team and a former cultural director and consultant. June will now introduce to us our speaker. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. It is a great pleasure for me and an honor tonight to introduce Katarzyna Iwanska, who is a career diplomat and head of the public and cultural diplomacy at the Embassy of the People, or the Republic of Poland in Washington, D.C. In her previous postings, she was at the Embassy of the Republic of Poland in Tel Aviv. She worked in that embassy in the state of Israel prior to being overseas. She was posted at the Board of Strategic Advisors to the Prime Minister in Poland. And she spent 8 years at the Foreign Policy Planning Unit at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. She's an absolute expert in strategic planning, educational and digital projects, as well as promoting women's issues. We are so pleased and honored to have her with us tonight. So welcome.
Thank you very much, June. It's a big pleasure to be with all of you tonight and to introduce also our great speakers who are going to be with us also after the screening of Polish Embassy's favorite documentary, Godspeed, Los Polacos. We are very happy that we can cooperate with June, with Betty, and everybody else from World Artist Experiences. It's a wonderful experience to be part of this endeavor, to be partner in crime with you in promoting Polish movie, a Polish documentary created by two young artists, filmmakers who grew up in New Jersey, not in Poland. However, the passion for the history of Poland and Polish expeditions and a little bit of a Polish craziness that connects us all in conquering the world and reaching for impossible, I think drove them to produce and to make this wonderful documentary that you are going to see tonight. We also, so Sonia Szczęsna and Adam Nawrot are joining us here tonight. And also, hi guys, so great to have you here. And also Piotr Chmieliński, one of the members of the legendary expedition Canaan the 79, the expedition that you are going to learn a lot about through this documentary that we are screening with World Artist Experiences this very evening. Thank you very much, Adam, Sonia, and Piotr, for making it all happen. We will see Piotr and other members of the expedition on screen, and you will see how much charisma all of them have had, and why. I will not say anything more. I wanted to say why the trip went the way it went, but no more spoilers. Please just watch the documentary, and we meet afterwards for the Q&A.
Hey there, everyone, and thanks for joining us today for a screening of Godspeed, Los Polacos. The war in Ukraine has unfortunately made this film way more relevant than we ever hoped it would be. But we hope it offers a fun and informative window into life behind the Iron Curtain that informs your perspectives on the state of the world today. Enjoy.
Thank you very much. And I hope everybody enjoyed watching the documentary Godspeed, Los Polacos. As I said prior to the screening, this is the favorite documentary of the Polish Embassy in Washington, D.C. And we are very, very happy to promote it as much as possible and as widely as possible. We are here tonight together with one of these extreme travelers that took on this adventure to go to Kolka Canyon and many other places all across both Americas. Piotr Chmieliński. Piotr, you are a very good friend of our embassy, and we are very, very happy that we can build this friendship with you for many months now. And I'm very happy to also know you personally and to learn from you a lot with every single conversation and meeting that we have. And I'm sure that our viewers today, our attendees, will learn a lot from you too. And we also have Adam Nawrot and Sonia Szczęsna. So Adam is the director of the documentary and Sonia is the producer of the film. And yes, they thanks to them, this story lives on and can be shown very widely, very broadly in all the countries in the world willing to go to Kolka Canyon together with our crazy kayakers and to learn about the history of Poland from the turn of the 1980s, a very crucial time not only for Poland but all the Central Eastern Europe, and I think the world in general too. The history was difficult at that time. It is difficult right now as well. So this film is also very much universal. And I was wondering, I would like to start from here. Sonia and Adam, you are from this young generation of creators who are also very much involved in responding to contemporary issues and contemporary challenges, including the climate change challenge. But I was wondering why exactly you focused on that story and what brought you to making, again, the favorite documentary of the Polish Embassy in Washington, D.C., when you have so many other challenges and so many other issues that are very important and very significant to contemporary younger generation. What was so magical in that story that you decided to make a movie about it?
Well, sure. So both Sonia and I are first generation Polish Americans. So our parents immigrated to the United States in a very similar era to the Conowandis expedition. So for us, this story was a opportunity for us to explore the circumstances of our parents' immigration. So it was a very personal story for us on that level. And also we're big adventure fans. We love kayaking, we love climbing. And I think that that's really rooted in the Polish spirit. So it was this project was a chance for us to reconnect with our Polish heritage. You know, as evidenced by today's geopolitical climate, the circumstances of the Cold War that we could explore through this film, through this really fun way to explore these topics, are still really, really relevant.
We also I feel like everyone knows about Polish mountaineers, and this is kind of the same time period. And we have these incredible adventurers doing just as daring feats, but just lower as opposed to onto mountains. So we are also really excited about looking at what was happening in Poland at that time that was driving so many people to go on really challenging expeditions.
Right. That was one of our fun, like one of our first curiosities about this was just like, what, when you look at like a list of like Polish mountaineering achievements, if you look at 8,000-meter peaks, so all the highest mountains in the world, all the winter first ascents have a Polish flag on them, almost all of them. And it's just like, what is going on? How is this little country that hardly has any mountains in it, that's under
Or
like
whitewater rivers.
how are all these amazing feats of exploration coming out of there?
Right. So if I may just build on that and tell everybody who is with us tonight that we very much invite you to save the dates for the 13th of May, 1-3 May, because we are organizing an EU open house, meaning the open day of the Embassy of the Republic of Poland in Washington, D.C. So if you're based in Washington, D.C. or anywhere around it, please save the date, because we are going to have Canoe Under 79 with Piotr Miliński, and we are going to have Polish climbers, Polish mountaineers who are going to join us, and we also are going to have someone probably very close to Adam Nawrocki, meaning Marek Kamiński, the polar traveler or explorer. So we are going to take you on wonderful, wonderful journeys in the Embassy of the Republic of Poland in Washington, D.C., because yes, we want to speak about this phenomenon of these extreme expeditions organized by Polish travelers who make us, like our jaws drop with every single story that we may hear. And this is, one of these stories that are actually very hard to believe. When we watched it together with our staff for the very first time, I was receiving messages all the time. Is this really fact-based? Like, has this really happened? So I was wondering, Piotr, because if you could jump on that and tell us, like, what exactly was happening in the heads of like a group of youngsters from a university in Krakow with like little to no whitewater skills, hardly any equipment, and like homemade equipment built in People's Republic of Poland, right? And the 6-wheeled military truck, like, let's just go for it. Like, this passion for freedom, is this something that like drove you, inspired you the most, that you really wanted to feel this freedom that is real, I think personally, very much rooted into our DNA in Poland?
I will take that with a little bit different way. In 70s, kayaking was something unusual. Like Adam said, a few of the mountaineers at this time, at the same time, had the dreams to conquer something, but nothing what was not done before. Go to the 18,000 meters mountains, because nobody did that before. Poles were late in the climbing, so they just said, we will do something else. And as you said, Katarzyna, Krzysztof Wielicki, first who was on the Mount Everest in winter, will be on 13th of May, together with us in the Polish embassy. So for us, a group of people, first maybe 8, then 20, and at the time when I was leaving Poland, about 450 students, kayakers, had that additional possibility activities. We organized trips in Poland. As Sonia said, not too much whitewater, but we had to start somewhere and learn on those beautiful rivers in Poland, Dunajec, San, Wisła at the beginning, and many others, even flat lakes. Kayaking was activity which everybody enjoyed. And activities, as you saw in the film, which took us from that normal, maybe a little bit gray life, and mostly enjoying being together with people who enjoy this outdoors activities. Then we organized few of the outside of Poland trips to Yugoslavia, to Hungary, to Romania, Yugoslavia and Greece. And this desire to see the world, I believe, was the most important for me. Not even escaping. I didn't plan or wanted at that time to go anywhere. I just wanted to go and see the world. And at the end of university, for all of us, 10 of us, there was this kind of unobtainable dream. Hey, let's try. And Argentina, one of the friends, Janusz Szwaracki, threw the name Argentina. And somehow we were so persistent in getting and accomplishing this, our dream to get to Argentina, that took us almost 5 years, and we made it. And that was it. A situation change, political situation, completely uncontrollable for us. And we found ourselves to do what was right at the time, and I believe right for all of us, to introduce us to that political situation which happened. And the rest of the story, film is describing, is showing. Sonia and Adam presented that beautifully and with high quality, and that's what we have. That's how I see. So we found ourselves in this historical time where we had to fit with the head highly held, and I believe all of us were proud with first what we accomplished and how we behaved, because that was very important.
It seems that all of you had a wonderful sense of humor. I mean, I know you, so I know that you still have a lot of sense of humor. But back then, was humor helping you go through all the hardships of the journey of the expedition, or how was there any other tool or tip, that you would like to share with others who are going through hardships or are embarking on difficult journeys? How to actually stay in the game and how to keep on going. You had this huge inspiration from John Paul II, but was there anything else? Was humor included? Did you have a lot of jokes and laugh and fun during the trip?
I always do not understand people who do expeditions and they behave like that's the worst time of their life. I enjoyed every minute. I enjoyed the time, and probably all of us enjoy the time very much. That helped us to bring people together with us and keep them with us. That helped us to really accomplish all what we did over the 3 years. And Katarzyna, the sense of humor will be when I take you and other members of the embassy to the Potomac River to do some kayaking. If you are on the water, there is nothing else than the humor and the love and the enjoyment. So going back to this difficulty, definitely was difficult because we didn't have skills at the beginning, but we learned fast. It was difficult because we found ourselves in a situation where we didn't have money, we didn't have many aspects of normal that type of expeditions. So you could, and again, that was quite well presented in the movie, but we were happy to find ourselves in that situation and move forward to accomplish the goal. And we only accomplished the goal, which was to get to Argentina, because we had that goal. If we didn't have a goal to get there and navigate few of those rivers, we'll probably stop in Las Vegas and never move out of there, because it was nice to be there for some time. So all that worked together quite well.
Well, definitely Las Vegas is the place to be for some time. but let's just, not ask too many questions about the Las Vegas part of the adventure. Now, coming back to Sonia and Adam, I've read in one of the interviews in one of the reviews of your documentary that it's a perfect blend of archival footage, interviews, and stunning animations. Now, on the one hand, there was a lot of archival footage that I have never seen in my life prior to seeing Godspeed Los Polacos. So it's like priceless material. At the same time, like there are many scenes that in the documentary that's required from you some extra work, meaning these animations, right, that are included in the movie. And at the same time, everything has such a good pace. And like, how exactly did you come up with this perfect blend of very different kinds of pieces that actually became Godspeed Los Polacos?
Sure. So first and foremost, we're lucky to have access to the Kanawandes footage. So Jacek and Zbigniew did a fabulous job while on the expedition, while on these rivers, to actually take time and film and photograph all this stuff. And one of the things that the guys love to remind us of is like, all the rapids that you see in the movie, those are the easiest rapids, because the hardest ones they couldn't actually get on camera because they were, hanging on for their lives. So it was incredible to have that source material to work from. But during their expedition, they were sending footage back to Poland. And after everything kind of blows up in Peru, a lot of that footage goes missing. So you'll notice that most of the actual film that we have, like the motion pictures, are from the Colca Canyon. So that's from later in the expedition, the stuff that they didn't send back. Everything else is photo-based. And so to make the photos fun and engaging, we utilize these kind of, we call it 2.5D animation. It's not exactly three-dimensional, it's not exactly two-dimensional, but we kind of create these little worlds out of all these little photos. And so that's a lot of fun to do. But then, of course, there's moments that we don't have any footage for, right? So like our border crossing scenes or these hard rapids. And that's when we had to, start thinking outside of the box. Well, and maybe not that far outside of the box, but we started incorporating animated elements. Now, making animation is incredibly labor intensive and incredibly cost intensive. And so we're like, oh my God, how could we ever afford this? And so what we started to think about is, okay, well, we've been moving these photos around. Maybe we can just do the same thing with animation. So we got a friend who's a really great illustrator to draw us stuff, right? And we'd give her these schematics where we would be like, okay, put an eyeball on this layer, put a hand on this layer, and then we kind of move them around in the same way that we would these photos. And so what we kind of came up with is this animated style that you see in the film. And you'll notice that like a lot of the motions are like slow-mo in the animations, right? And we hope that it sells as a creative choice, but really it's an element of, if we had to do more than one like motion, it just wouldn't work. Like we're not that good at animating. And so what we like to say is, we pulled a lot of this movie off in true Kanawandes style. And so the visuals, the pacing, all this kind of stuff, I think really fits what we like to say, and I don't know if they think about it this way, but like the punk rock ethic of the expedition.
Totally, I fully agree. And also the music that's really, like provides for the pace and keeps everybody like engaged and, just eating popcorn as fast as possible, because it's really, really an engaging film and an engaging story. Now, at the same time, from all of us who have this Polish heritage and relationship with Poland, it's also about history. And coming back to you, Piotr, and I'm taking this question, of course, from the Q&A box. That was again part of a very important story, like of Poland, of our region, and that time the martial law in Poland made you all stay in, on this side, on the American side of the pond, and you were not able to come back to Poland until Poland was finally and fully free. Like it took you over a decade to go back. And I was wondering, and that's both my question and the question of one of our guests tonight, what were your feelings when you finally were able to go to Poland and see the free Poland?
I was crying when I crossed and got to, I am originally from Rzeszów, and I remember I was driving over the like a small hills, and I saw place where I am from. Was a strong feeling of belonging, of returning, and this feeling which all people who were somewhere for a long time probably have. I am back. I am back in that place finally, and emotionally, one of the kind of strongest moments I remember when after 11 years I could go back freely without any issues, political issues, to see back my family, my friends, places where I was at school, at the university. So I don't wish anybody to have that type of experience, but for us, for all of us, and for all of us from that group who did all the Canal and this expedition, we each one of us, for each one of us took almost 10 years to return. But again, this is experience we had possibility to live through, and we build on it. And I don't regret. You said, Katarzyna, that we could go back. We could go back, as in the film was presented. We could go back to Moscow, back to Warsaw. But as Jurek said in the film, we were not sure if in Moscow they will not direct us somewhere to explore rivers in Siberia. So that was only the kind of choice. So we had a choice, return, but probably we will waste our time for some time because politically we were kind of personas non grata for that period of time.
Well, certainly not to mention, I mean, we know that Siberia was a kind of a popular place to, for the Poles to be dragged to by Soviet and Russian occupiers of our country for many years. So probably it's not the, like one of the regions that we would.
But they have beautiful rivers.
True, very much so. But speaking about journeys and traveling still, I mean, all three of you are passionate for traveling and expeditions and journeys. And I was wondering whether you like to explore Poland through like this perspective, to organize expedition or to go on expeditions or journeys to Poland, or you rather treat it as a kind of second home, our first home, and, like not a place to actually visit from, from this angle of Explorers Club, but rather, like just to relax. Are there any places in Poland that you would recommend for journeys and expeditions?
That's a question for me.
All of you. Piotr, let me start with you, if you don't mind.
So again, Poland is a beautiful country. It has from the sea level to the lakes in the northeast and mountains on the south. And altogether, there are not too many whitewater rivers, but there are few very picturesque, very exciting to be to navigate, to kayak, to raft. So, and historically, Poland has a lot to offer, from Kraków, Warsaw, and many other places with a huge and interesting castles from Middle Ages. And so definitely I am encouraging everybody to see Poland, and there are many exciting places, as I said, historically and geographically. and from the type of activities anybody can find.
Well, we have a question in the chat box. I've always heard that Zakopane is a beautiful place to visit. Yes or no? Do you confirm, Piotr, that Zakopane is the place to see?
Zakopane is a beautiful place, but don't go when there is a lot of tourists, because you will not find a horizon. It's covered by people. So best to select. If you want to go there, go outside of the tourist time, which is, of course, either during the summer. I will suggest to go during the winter, a lot of skiing areas. There are other areas which will be less crowded. If somebody likes to see Zakopane and enjoys the crowds, definitely a good spot to go.
Yes, it's a picturesque ski resort that we have in Tatra Mountains. And I fully agree with Piotr that summer is very crowded, but it's a spectacular place and very much worth visiting. Sonia and Adam, would you recommend any place in Poland to visit, and for expeditions, extreme and not extreme expeditions?
Well, you guys just stole what I was going to recommend, which is to go to the Tatra Mountains. Adam and I got the chance to stay at Murowaniec for about a week, or a little bit more than a week. We got a grant from the American Alpine Club to do a ski mountaineering trip there. We learned about the unique ways that Poles ice climb using turf pitons, which you just kind of hammer into frozen grass. It was quite an adventure.
Yeah, there's not enough ice to go ice climbing, but there's just enough ice to not go rock climbing. So the the climbing there is we were like very on edge the entire time. We're like, we have a lot of ice where we're based out of, so we're released to that kind of stuff, but we were like, oh my God, totally gripped when we were out there climbing. So we were like, okay, now I get it. Now I get how these guys were doing what they're doing out there.
But I also grew up in the lakes, going to the lakes region. So Olsztyn has a lot of great areas to bike ride, to sail, to hang out by all of the wonderful lakes. So I recommend visiting Olsztyn.
I sympathize. I fully agree with Olsztyn. I'm also from that region. So yes, beautiful lakes in Poland, definitely worth visiting. Before going to my favorite question to Sonia and Adam, I just wanted to grab another question to Piotr from the chat box. Kolka Canyon and Amazon River. You are the Guinness record breaker when it comes to traveling or like sailing, rafting from the source to sea of the Amazon River. So not only Kolka Canyon, but also very, very significant and scary journey from the source to sea of the Amazon River. So how are these the two different, or is there anything that joins the two trips, or it's totally two different worlds?
Well, I will say, if I did not do Kolka or Canondes expedition from 79 to 82, I will never have possibility to do Amazon. What joins those two, Kolka River, is at the edge of the area where there is a main source of Amazon River. So Amazon River starts at one side of the mountain called Mount Mismi. On the other side is Kolka Canyon. And so the differences, Kolka Canyon is a lot deeper in the many parts than the canyons of the Apurimac, but those are huge, enormous canyons. Type of difficulty in navigation probably be easier on Kolka, because Kolka has a lot less water. Amazon or Apurimac and then other tributaries of Amazon, they have 10, 20, 30, 50 times more water, which is a lot more challenging. So Kolka Canyon took us about 1 month to navigate. Amazon about 6.5 months. So that's the difference in the distance and the different location. Kolka River is because it's so isolated. There are no mostly issues with, there is an issue with nature and difficulties, some falling rocks. Amazon adds with the difficulty because of the people around. Sometimes you can find people who are not the most friendly or even pirates. There are situations where people were killed for some stupidity because local people, and those were bandits, not the Indian people, but mostly kind of bandits, wanted to steal the cameras or steal some electronics. And when they were doing that, they just killed those adventurers. And so Amazon adds a lot more in that aspect of being involved with people who are not too friendly to some outsiders. But both of them are beautiful. There are beautiful areas in Kolka Valley, Amazon, as we all know, from the mountains to the flat areas of the jungle, just enormous, interesting areas, not only flora and fauna, but all the vistas of that huge, biggest river in the world.
Thank you so much. And as you can all see, we are just at the tip of the iceberg when it comes to learning about the expeditions of Piotr. There is certainly a lot to
and
learn
Katarzyna,
about.
I would like to say it's not expedition of Piotr, because we always did that as a group. I believe we accomplished what we accomplished because that was a huge cooperation between all of us. And from the beginning, when there were 10 of us, to then 5 of us or 7 of us, from Andrzej, Zbigniew, Jacek, Jurek, Stefan, Krzysztof, Biczu-Kraśniewski. That was our group effort to make it, to accomplish. And as I said before, because we had a goal to get to, each one pushed other groups to move it. And it's not Piotr's, not somebody else's expedition. That was a group Cano Andes expeditions all the way.
Absolutely. Teamwork and team spirit are visible throughout the film and are certainly recognizable like everywhere we touch upon the history, the story of Cano Andes 79, and I very much agree with the importance of team spirit and teamwork.
And Katarzyna, one more. I would like to thank Sonia and Adam for resurrecting our story, resurrecting our expedition or expeditions, that finding from younger generation the older guys and the enthusiasm they posted in that story is something what we appreciated. Our enthusiasm a few years before and now theirs, it's something what we really appreciate. And Sonia and Adam, thank you for your hard work and the great work.
Thank you for letting us make your film.
Thank you.
Well, I fully agree with Piotr, and I've read many reviews of Godspeed Los Polacos before today's event, and I could find it everywhere that you guys are dedicated filmmakers with such a huge attention to detail, with this perfect blend of every different aspect that you provide from this story, from the big story and the smaller stories, and from the stories of every single member of the expedition. So there is, I don't know how you did it, but you are artists. And this is why we also are meeting tonight. And this is also why I'm, coming to my favorite question to you, which is always, and this one is also taken from the Q&A box, what is your next film project?
Sure. So we've got a few things in the works. Sonia's been working on a shark program for television. I just got back from Antarctica, where we were following and filming a ocean rowing expedition that was retracing Shackleton's rescue mission in 1917. So that was pretty exciting.
But our next kayaking related short film project is actually exploring the community of sea kayakers around Manhattan. So we're really interested in exploring how you can have an epic expedition in a place like Manhattan. Like, what does that look like, and who are the people that are getting out there?
Well, we are very much looking forward to seeing and to watching and getting to know all these stories that you have in the pipeline. And please let us know as soon as they are out. My probably last question would also be taken from the Q&A box. Adam mentioned Ukraine in his opening remarks. How is the Polish community reacting to the war? That's the question taken from the Q&A section. But also I wanted to add to it, because this film is showing a particular chapter of the history of Poland, meaning the solidarity movement. And from us Polish diplomats working across the world, not remembering solidarity, because we were born a little bit later, but we feel it now. We feel that chapter of the history of Poland plays a significant role right now in how Poland is responding to the war in Ukraine and the Russian aggression against Ukraine. And I was wondering, like, how you feel about this history happening in front of our eyes right now, and whether the way you were brought up outside of Poland, but in huge respect to the history of our country, and it shows very well in Godspeed, Los Polacos, how this connects everything, like in what we see right now, and how you respond and how you feel about the conflict.
Sure. I mean, I think that the histories of a lot of these Soviet satellite states and Eastern European countries share a lot in common, especially the histories of Poland and Ukraine. I remember some of the folk songs that I would hear growing up, like specifically are about Poland and Ukraine as kind of like sister entities there. So I think that, this film, I mean, the history, obviously different countries, different things, but I feel like, the story there is very similar. And from, I'm not on the ground in Poland, I can't speak from a firsthand perspective, but from what I understand, the borders from Ukraine to Poland are people are being welcomed with open arms, because I think that there's a lot of solidarity there.
Piotr, what about you? I mean, you went through that, and we can see in the film that, the solidarity movement and what was happening in Poland back then was like formative to your generation and to the members of the expedition. How do you feel about how our country is responding to the war, and about, how do you feel about what is happening in Ukraine?
I just returned from Poland 2 days ago. I was there for almost 10 days, but not only, I was probably 3 times in Poland in the last few months. What I see from members of my family, members of friends or kayakers, there is this open kind of arms reception for people from Ukraine. I believe historically, whatever happens, historically Poland and Ukraine will be a lot more together from now on. We will support each other because Poland understands what Ukraine is, or Polish people understands completely why Ukraine is fighting so hard. And for Polish people to help with everything what is available, it's not only to help Ukraine, but helping Poland in the future. And that's what everybody, or majority of people, are realizing. are experiencing now, it's such a positive aspect of what is going on over the last year. And hopefully I have here always holding on my chest flag of Ukraine, just to, in that small way, inform people in the United States. This is not only Ukraine issue. This is not only Central Europe issue. It's the world issue. Don't let that go without helping Ukraine, because consequences will be a lot bigger than everybody thinks. And if anything is worth it, effort and money, just put as much as you can. Ukraine needs to be free. People needs to be free, because if they are free, all the rest of Europe will be free for generations, and world will be more peaceful. That's my take from what's going on in that part of the world, which affects every other corner of the world in this moment.
Thank you very much, Piotr, for these words. Thank you very much, Adam and Sonia. It's been a pleasure and an honor to moderate the Q&A with you. And it's been such a wonderful evening. And well, over to you, June. Thank you.
Well, I would love to thank everyone involved this evening in showing us a glimpse into the world of the warm and wonderful Polish people, and their adventurous spirit and their perseverance. I'm quite heartfelt in saying thank you to all of you. I would like to know if anyone would like to make a final statement this evening.
I feel like it's hard to follow Piotr's. I mean, Piotr's final statement right there was so strong.
Okay.
Well, I will say, in our case, from just boys' dreams, I believe accomplished something, not only for ourselves. So if we have dreams, let's do it. Let's throw ourselves. Let's try. If we do not try first time, second time, for the third time. So let's dream and hope for the better world in exploration, but in life too. That's what I would like to say.
Thank you.
Betty and June, thank you very much for inviting us. Thank you for that beautiful introduction, and see you next time.
You know, our World Artist Experience wants to thank each one of you so much this evening. Katerina, for the great moderating you did, bringing out all these wonderful points, and for making all of this possible. Please extend our deepest gratitude to the Embassy of Poland, to Sonia and to Adam. What enthusiasm, what great, what you brought to us tonight, what art you brought to us. And we wish you all the best and much success in your future. And Piotr, my heart is touched by your expressions of so many deep feelings and emotions out of your voyage and also the present and all of your life. Thank you so much, June.
And Betty, where do you live?
I live in Annapolis, Maryland.
Okay, so next time we are kayaking, you are on Potomac, okay?
Great, I'll be there.
Perfect. June, you too.
I will be there.
Thank you.
June, thanks for being with us tonight. Patrick, thank you for making all the technical detail with all the evening. And to our guest, we thank you for being such a wonderful audience with great questions this evening. We hope to see all of you next week as we screen the film from Pakistan. So until next week, good night and have a great week. And we'll be thinking of all of the people there in Ukraine.
Good night.
Thank you so much. Good night.